Thank you for joining us on Overcomers, God Makes the Difference. I'm your host, Sherri Wargin, and today we have a very special guest joining us. We have Eugene Rakow. Welcome, Eugene, for coming today to share your special story.
Thank you for having me.
Eugene is a 58-year-old self-employed carpenter from St. Bonifacius, Minnesota, and he's got an amazing story to tell us with a miraculous ending. And he survived shooting himself in the heart with a nail gun, and he is alive to tell about it. So, Eugene, let's start back. What was the date and the time that this happened to you?
It was September 27th, and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When I called my wife to run me to the emergency room, my cell phone said 1 o'clock, and I made a note of it because I figured at the hospital they would ask what time it happened.
So tell us kind of what you were doing and how it happened with the nail gun accident.
I was building a deck for one of my neighbors, and I had the nail gun about chest level and was nailing the rim joist on, and one of the joists was a little high, so I had the nail gun at an angle, and when I shot, it bounced and came down and hit myself in the chest and went off. So I shot myself in the chest point blank with the nail gun, and the nail went into my chest.
And the nail went in so far that you couldn't even see it on the outside of your chest, right?
No, I couldn't see the head. The head was buried in the flesh. I pulled my T-shirt out, and there was a hole in my T-shirt, and there was a little bit of blood. It didn't bleed much, and it was hard to catch my breath.
And how big of a nail was it?
It was a 3.5-inch, 16-penny galvanized nail.
Oh, my goodness. So when that happened, what kind of thoughts ran through your head?
Well, the first thing you think of is, boy, this is really stupid. I just shot myself in the chest, And the next thing that goes through your head is, this is serious. I got to get this taken care of right away.
So did you feel any pain?
The pain wasn't that bad. It was uncomfortable, but it was hard to breathe. It was like,
okay.
I just couldn't catch my breath,
Uh-huh. And then did you hear any noises or?
Well, my cell phone was in my truck, which was just around the corner of the house. So when I walked over to grab my phone to call my wife, I could hear it gurgle and feel it crunch. And I was kind of trying to diagnose, okay, where's the nail? Is it in my heart or in my lungs? Hopefully it missed everything,
Right. And so you called your wife, and then she came, and she's going to drive you to the hospital in Waconia. And so as she's driving you, what are you guys talking about?
I don't know. I just told her to step on it. We got to get there because I figured time is of the essence. And she did ask me, are you going to die? I said, just step on it. We got to get there. She ran a few stop signs and red lights, but she was driving good.
Okay.
But my son Sam was with us. He was in the back seat. He was had his hands on my shoulders, and he was praying as we were going. So, and we called ahead to emergency room in Waconia to let them know we were coming, what to expect.
And were they ready for you?
No, we pulled up. I told my wife, I said, just pull up to the double doors, and she pulled up there, and she went and opened the double doors and grabbed a wheelchair, and my son Sam got out and opened the door, and I walked in and met my wife. She had the wheelchair, and then everybody started to scramble and got me to the back room and laid me on the table there, the bed or whatever, and then they started cutting my T-shirt off, and I said, man, that's my favorite T-shirt. They said, oh, do you want us to save it? I said, no, I'm just kidding. And one gentleman said, so you mean you shot a nail and it hit the wood and ricocheted and hit you in the chest? I said, no, I shot myself in the chest. I have a nail in my chest. And his face just kind of went blank, and his face kind of got white. And
they kind of were so shocked, like, how are you still talking? How are you still alive? And
yeah.
You're not in cardiac arrest or already dead.
Yeah, and it was kind of over their heads, so they were going to send me to HCMC. We have 7 kids, and all my kids drove in and were there, and they got to send me off to got to say goodbye to me.
They said goodbye because they didn't exactly know if you were going to make it, and
exactly.
if there was going to be surgery and what was going to happen from there, and
right.
So they wanted to at least be able to say goodbye, Dad, we love you one last time.
Right. And my daughter Laura, she rode in the front in the ambulance with us, and we went to HCMC and EM.
So this is a second hospital.
Yep.
Okay.
The EMT called ahead to the emergency room at HCMC and told them what was going on so they'd be ready. Well, we got to HCMC. He backed up the emergency room. There was nobody there. He said, where is everybody? I called in. So we got in the emergency room, and everybody was kind of just milling around in the back, and then they saw us coming in, and then they got busy scrambling.
So then did you actually get your surgery there at that hospital?
No, they got me on some pain meds or whatever, and then they did a CT scan. Then they sent me up to a waiting room, and then the nurse came in, and when we were in the waiting room, my family gathered, and my brother-in-law was there, and then a nurse we knew from the HCMC, she had got off work, and she was there, so we all prayed, and then a nurse came in and said, we have some bad news, our surgeon's in surgery, so we can't do the operation, so we're going to have to send you to Abbott.
So this is a third hospital.
Yeah, so...
And you had to go by ambulance again?
Yeah, and my wife said, well, it's only 8 blocks away, can't we just push them down the street?
It would save a little bit of money, right?
Yes. But we loaded in the ambulance and went over to Abbott, and we got to Abbott, and they're pushing me down the hallway, and I saw a clock, and it was after 5, and I said, is that the correct time? And they said, yeah, it's a little after 5. I said, I've been here for 4 hours, a little over 4 hours already? Yeah.
My, 4 hours before the surgeon even looked at you at the third hospital.
Yes.
So then you're at the third hospital, you're at Abbott Northwestern, and the surgeon looked at you, and then what did he say and what did he do?
Well, he was very solemn. He
was shaken.
Very, very concerned. And he said, we're going to take good care of you. And I told him, well, they took a CT scan at HCMC, the nails in my heart. He said, well, we won't know until we open you up. We have to do surgery. And I said, well, is this going to be microsurgery or is it going to be open heart surgery? He said, there's really no such thing as microsurgery. It's going to be open heart surgery. I said, well, can't you just reach from the other end and take the nail out so I don't have to go through that surgery?
An open heart surgery, for those of you who don't know, is they cut your chest down the middle and then grab both sides of your sternum and literally pull your chest open, which is very major surgery and very serious.
Yeah, it takes a long time to recover.
And Gene, you were at a third hospital before you actually saw a surgeon. And what did the surgeon say to you before you went into surgery?
Well, he said, we're going to take good care of you. And I told him, well, the nail's in my heart. He said, well, because they did the CT scan, and he said, the scan doesn't do us much good. We won't know exactly what the damage is and what we have to do until we get in there and see.
And they had to do the open heart surgery, the very major surgery kind, where they open your chest up to see where the nail was and how to remove it and all of that. Yep,
exactly. And he said once he got in there and was able to work the nail loose and get it out, that it was only a matter of one stitch in the back of the heart and one in the top, and then it was fine. The surgery itself only took about an hour, so it was pretty short.
Wow.
But the nail did penetrate 2 chambers of my heart, went all the way through out the back side.
Wow. That's just so amazing, because my understanding is that the surgeon was very somber and very solemn, because this is so serious that usually people don't survive. First of all, they bleed out, they die on the spot, right?
Yes, yep.
If they get shot in the heart. Or secondly, the majority of them might die on the operating table when they're doing surgery, because it's so serious they could bleed out. And so you've survived already before he's even done any surgery. It's already been 4 hours, and there's not been too much of a sense of urgency, probably because people are seeing that you're not unconscious, right?
Right.
You're still conscious, you're still walking, you're still talking, and you're not screaming in pain either, right?
Right. All my vitals were good, so I think it was God's hand on me,
Absolutely.
I felt a calmness and a peace.
That's amazing. But your family, I'm sure that they were believing the best and believing God was going to spare your life, but they were also prepared for the worst that could happen. And the doctor took your family aside, and what did he say to them?
Well, he explained to them the seriousness of it, and after we didn't know how close the nail was to anything, and after the surgery, after he got in there, the nail was 2 millimeters from main artery. He said if it would have hit that artery, I could have died right on the spot or bled to death.
2 millimeters. Now, just to give the listeners some frame of how small of a distance it was from where it could have hit your heart at the right place that you probably would have been instantly dead. 2 millimeters is...
Well, I was trying to figure that out. A centimeter is about a half an inch long, so it'd be a centimeter divided into tenths. So would be about 1/20th of an inch, would be less than a 16th of an inch, which isn't much.
Or you were kind of putting it in perspective, like it might be the width of a potato chip, the cardboard of a potato chip box might be the to say that amount of space was what the nail missed of a serious place in your heart, of an artery in your heart.
Yes, it was very close.
Wow. So the surgeon was very solemn, and he confirmed that it was a really close call. And what did he remark to you after the surgery?
Well, he came into the room after surgery, and he said, "You have to be the luckiest man alive. You need to buy a lottery ticket."
Wow. And I'm sure you felt that you were in good hands with this surgeon too, and that he was available, and maybe you were supposed to be, even though you went to 3 hospitals and you had to wait 4 hours, maybe you were supposed to be with that surgeon. Is that a thought that crossed your mind?
Yeah, I mean, God's in control of the whole situation, so whatever happened was him orchestrating it. So.
And you were only in surgery less than an hour, and basically you only had 2 stitches, right?
2 stitches in the heart, one on the back side and one on the top, because it went all the way through the heart, through 2 chambers. So, but they didn't have to put any stitches in the inside, just on the outside and the back and the outside and the front.
And then for your chest, how did they close you up there?
They put the sternum back together, and they tie it or wrap it somehow with stainless steel wire. And then the flesh, they glue it back together. So I left the operating room held together by baling wire and super glue.
Okay, now here's another miraculous piece of trivia of Eugene's ordeal. Eugene, so from the time that you had surgery in the hospital, which was on Friday, when were you released from the hospital? This is major heart surgery.
As Monday, I left the hospital.
That is amazing.
I think it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday.
You were able to go home?
Yep.
Wow. That is amazing. And let me ask you this question. Are you keeping the nail as a souvenir?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have it.
It's going to be a memorial of how God spared your life, right?
Yes, it is.
And Eugene, this is an amazing, miraculous story, and the news media really picked up on that, didn't they?
Yeah, at the hospital, one of the doctors, I don't know if he's had a media at Abbott or what, but he came in and said, "Is it okay if we release your story?" I said, "Sure, I don't care." So somehow they got my daughter's, Naomi's phone number, and on Monday when we were heading home from the hospital, she got a call from Fox 9 News and said that they wanted to do an interview. So she said, "Dad, Fox 9 wants to do an interview with you. Is that okay?" I said, "No, I'm tired." She's, "Oh, yeah, it's okay. He'd love to. Come on over." So we got home about 3.
So when you go home...
We got home about 3:30, and we did this. Well, I didn't do the scramble, but everybody did the scramble, and but what were there? 4:30, Fox 9 showed up and did an interview, and that was probably one of the best interviews. It was very good. We actually got to talk a little about the Lord and stuff, so that was great. And then at 6 or 6:30, then Care 11 showed up, and we did an interview with them.
They came to your house as well?
Yes.
Wow. So within hours of getting home, and you're tired and probably don't feel good at all, and then you had 2 interviews with 2 the prime television stations here in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Wow. I looked online, and your name came up at least, it had to be at least 8 or 9 newspapers and media companies that have gotten your story. So tell us a couple other media publications or television stations that have contacted you that are national.
Well, we went to CCO studio and did a interview with Fox National, which is, I don't know if it's Today Show or Good Morning America or one of those. And then Vice magazine, a gentleman called me and did a phone interview. Then another gentleman called me. He was a freelance writer. The story actually showed up in the National Enquirer.
Okay, you're in the National Enquirer.
It's crazy. Then we did, it was another interview. A couple reporters came and cameramen came. And we did I don't even remember what that was for, but.
And Dr. Oz also contacted you about coming to do an interview on his TV show, right?
Yeah, they called too. They wanted us to go on Friday, what was it, the 25th, I think? But we had a wedding in Indiana. My nephew got married, so we opted to do that instead of to go to Los Angeles to do that. So I don't know if they kind of lost interest or what. We'll see if they call back or whatever.
So I imagine this Thanksgiving is going to be a Thanksgiving where your whole family is really going to be giving thanks and be so grateful that you're still here on earth and you're still a part of the family. I just wanted to make mention, too, that you've got a wife and you've got 7 children.
Yeah, we have 7. People ask me how many kids do you have. I usually say 3, one of each. But we do have 7 children. They're all good kids. They're pretty good kids. They all pitch in and help, and they're pretty good kids. So
tell the listeners a little bit, just from your heart, about how you're feeling that this has affected your life and God's saving power and what happened and how you're changed in just your perspective of life now.
Well, when we did the interview, I said, it was Monday. It happened on Friday. It was Monday. I said, well, we could be going to a funeral now instead of doing this interview. Then my wife would be stuck with the 7 kids to finish raising the younger ones by herself. But she was probably making a list of possible replacements. No, I'm just kidding.
I doubt it. You're irreplaceable, Eugene.
But yeah, it was just God's hand on us all, to make it through it. I remember praying one time, God, can't you just remove the nail so I don't have to go through this? But I don't know what the reason he chose to go through this. I don't know. Maybe even if the ad in the Enquirer, if it touches one person and they come to know the Lord, it's
absolutely.
Taking a nail is worth it.
Right. To take a humble carpenter from St. Bonifacius, Minnesota, to have a miraculous testimony, and it's going around the world. It's on the internet now. So about what God can do. You should have been dead, but you weren't, and you really didn't even suffer that much pain. And I know you're here at the studio with me now, and you just went to the doctor, and he said you're doing good. And it is taking some recovery time, though, because of the opening up of the chest, right?
Right. I'm not supposed to lift over 10 pounds for the first 6 weeks, and then not over 20 pounds for the second 6 weeks. So that puts us to about January.
And you're a carpenter and in construction, so you're used to doing a lot of heavy lifting. So it might still be months and months, maybe even next spring, till you can resume your normal workload and everything.
Yes, it's gonna be a while. It takes a while for it to heal. And if you even lifting a gallon of milk, you can feel it. It hurts a little.
We want you to stay safe and your health to continue to improve. Give the listeners your email, and also if they just want more information of how they could support you in prayer or anything like that, they can also just shoot you an email, and your email is?
BemisKnight@frontiernet.net. That's BemisKnight@frontiernet.net.
So Eugene, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, your miraculous story. It's just amazing, and I'm so glad that you're alive and well to be able to share that with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And God bless you and your family.
God bless you too.
Yeah!